Time travel is often the go-to plot device in sci-fi movies when everything goes wrong for the good guys. By simply either running really fast, going in a ship, or driving in a DeLorean, you are able to undo the events that caused the whole chaos in the first place. Only for the heroes to then realize that the conflict that caused them to time travel in the first place must happen in order to save the space-time continuum, eventually meaning that the whole film was pointless. However, the Marvel Cinematic Universe decided to scratch that and create a whole new understanding of time travel logic that allows them to undo conflicts in the future without it creating a black hole in the middle of New York. The first time we see time travel in the MCU is in Doctor Strange. We see the rebellious student of the mystic arts, that is Stephen Vincent Strange, trust me, that is his middle name, I googled it.
That feels weird, but I'll allow it.
Stumbled upon an ancient artifact known as the Eye of Agamotto. We see that this artifact has the ability to displace an object or even cities out of time. This is a form of time travel.
Time travel!
However, it doesn't have major consequences such as causing the multiverse to collapse, seeing that the object can simply be reset to its natural order by using the stone. We then later find out that this is an Infinity Stone, and we see Thanos use it to rip open Vision's head one last time.
Boom, you looking for this?
Speaking of Thanos, the main form of time travel in the MCU was caused by this purple hunk of man. After snapping away 50% of the population and then getting decapitated by Thor, the Avengers seemed helpless in trying to bring back the remaining population.
Bananas.
But just as they are about to forget the entire shenanigan, Scott Lang pops out of the quantum realm to motivate the Avengers to go back in time and find the stones, to then snap everyone back. Then the genius man that is Tony Stark figures out the missing link needed for time travel, and the Avengers conduct the time heist. And then we all know the rest of the story.
Avengers!
Assemble.
But the real question is, how does this version of time travel work? A common issue with most time travel stories is combating the idea of the butterfly effect and all the various paradoxes it forms along the way. The most common example being the grandfather paradox. So then, the Endgame screenwriters decided to completely avoid that problem by simply coming up with a different explanation for time travel. The movie then explains it multiple times with super wise characters so that the audience believes them more. Well, so what is this form of time travel all about?
If you travel to the past, that past becomes your future, and your former present becomes the past.
So essentially what the Hulk is saying is that by going back in time, it creates another branch timeline in which that event is prevented. However, when the person who time traveled returns back to their original time, the event still would have occurred. To understand this concept a little better, let's say you, yes you, the one watching this video right now, decided to be a hero and go back in time and stop World War II. And you're successful in doing so. And thinking you're going to return to your normal timeline a hero, but instead you've returned to a timeline where World War II still happened and you're still a nobody. So what happened to this timeline where World War II was stopped? It just simultaneously coexists with our current time, meaning it's a completely different universe. This is the same thing that happens with the MCU. This means that there is a universe in the MCU where Thanos just disappeared in 2014. And so the events of Infinity War and Endgame wouldn't have happened. However, events that weren't necessarily Thanos dependent would have still occurred.
The future is a bunch of bullshit.
Language!
We see this whole universe-hopping timeline logic further explored in Loki. After this, the next time we see time travel is weirdly in Miss Marvel. We see that the Bangles caused Kamala to travel back to the 1940s in Pakistan. It turns out she was the one who guided her grandmother back to her father, which kinda contradicts the logic established by Endgame.
No! God! No! God, please, no!
Seeing as this event occurred in the present timeline and didn't create a branch timeline. Well, how can this phenomenon be explained, I hear you ask? Well, to be honest, I don't know.
I don't know.
But I shall attempt to give an answer. The reason might be that in the present timeline, it wasn't Kamala who guided her grandmother back, but instead it was another person. And that the timeline in which Kamala guided her grandmother back was a completely separate timeline. This also might be due to the repercussions of the events of the Loki series, seeing as it also might be the same reason how everyone in the quantum realm is suddenly aware of Kang, but weren't before. Another glaring plot hole of the time travel logic is that of old Steve Rogers. Almost sounds like a nursery rhyme. Old Steve Rogers had a farm. Anyway, I digress. We see that at the end of Endgame, Steve has returned super old to give Sam the shield and pass over the title of Captain America. But once again, you might be asking, how? Well, there are also two possibilities. The first being the scriptwriters completely ignore their own rules and just rewrote the ending to have a nice happy ending. Or there's also this really weirder version that works with the rules established within their own movies. So here's how it goes. Steve went back in time to live with Peggy, causing a branch timeline to form. Then using the technological advancements of that future, he is able to hop between universes, allowing allowing him to return to Earth 616 to give Sam the shield. The second interpretation is my personal favourite, seeing as the first option meant that Steve had to sit around as his best friend was being tortured by Soviet scientists and sat around during all the chaos during the Cold War doing absolutely nothing. Now, seeing as Deadpool is going to join the MCU very soon with his own movie, it only makes sense to discuss the time travel logic portrayed in a sequel movie. The time travel in this movie is very much the classic changing the past, changes the future concept. If we use Cable's daughter's doll as an anchor point to whether or not the future has changed, we see that at the end of the movie, Wade sacrifices himself for Russell, causing his daughter to live. And therefore, I hear you asking, how can Deadpool enter the MCU?
You have questions.
Well, that is up to the magic of the multiverse, which is a story for another video. Be sure to check out this video explaining what makes a good superhero movie. Be sure to like, share and subscribe, and press the bell icon so you can be notified when I upload. And leave a comment down below with any further questions you have about time travel in the MCU that I haven't answered. Thanks for watching the video. Bye bye.